breakfast. Don't worry, boy, we'll make up for that. The neighbors have been coming in and out all morning. Wait until you see all the gifts of food they brought. Welcome to Israel presents. But it's so early in the morning. I could sleep some more. Smiling, his mother said, I know just how you feel, son, but never mind. You'll soon get used to the new time. Hurry and say your prayers and get dressed. Hurry Nathan did. He skipped some of the usual morning prayers, but not the one all men and boys said the first thing each morning. I thank thee, God, that thou hast not made me a woman.
Seriously.
Even while they ate their noon meal, neighbors kept coming in with food and gifts for the newcomers from America. No one bothered to knock at the door. They walked right in, saying, Shalom, Shalom, introducing themselves to the new arrivals. This went on all day. By early evening, Nathan could see that his mother was weary. He was glad when it was suggested that bedtime for the travelers should be early. According to Nathan's brain watch, it was very, very early, but he was glad to go behind the curtain to his room, where his parents went to theirs. Their room was simply another curtained-off section of the same room. This made it a 3-room apartment. The grandparents slept in the main part of the room. By the next day, Nathan and his parents were adjusted to Israeli time and ready to go sightseeing. Wow. The men put wide-brimmed hats over their skull caps. Nathan wore only his cap. The women tied babushka scarves over their heads. It didn't take long to see all of Mea Shearim. They walked along a very narrow sidewalk of the main street and turned down little side streets, stopping at markets and shops. Nathan could see how proud his grandfather was to introduce his family from America. Nathan noticed how they peered this way and that, looking for more children when he was introduced. But they were too polite and considerate of his mother's feelings to say anything about it. Nathan enjoyed their visit to the tiny shop owned by a rabbi. There were many beautiful handmade things to see, things which the rabbi hoped to sell. The rabbi's son was sitting at a bench making tiny little trinkets. One was made of silver wire in the form of the Torah. Nathan's father bought one of these and a tiny silver star of David for his wife. Looking at the star, Nathan remembered the 2 triangles, the object lesson the teacher in Chicago had used. When his father also bought himself a new prayer shawl, Nathan thought, nothing for me? Then he heard his father say, my son will soon be having his bar mitzvah. I think now is the time to buy phylacteries, which is, if you remember, a little box containing a portion of the Torah, so he can begin practicing putting them on his arm and head. Touching Nathan's shoulder, he said, so soon a man my son will be. Nathan could see how pleased his grandfather was, for grandfather would be the one to teach him how to use the phylacteries. From the shop, they could see a synagogue at the end of the tiny street. There's always a synagogue handy when it is time for prayer in Mea Shearim, the rabbi said. We have many synagogues, and there is no excuse. It is time now. Shall we go? The rabbi locked his shop. Together they walked to the synagogue. Inside the synagogue, the men and Nathan stood for the service. The women went to a small room upstairs, closed off from the main auditorium. They could see the service downstairs through small holes cut in the wall. Nathan said his prayers hurriedly, trying to include those he had skipped the morning before. Even before the service was over, grandmother said to Nathan's mother, come, so we'll leave and go to market. We don't tell the men. They can find us later. Not bothering one bit to be quiet, grandmother led the way down the stairs. When the men came out of the synagogue, Nathan was eager to make a request. Grandfather, he said, I'd like to see those apartments where you said we might live. Did you say they are not far from the Wailing Wall? If so, I'd like to stop there first and see the ruins of our Jewish temple and the only wall left standing where Jews go to pray. You told me they pray there for Messiah to come. They read the Torah before the wall, and some cry and wail because their temple was destroyed long ago. Did you hear your son? Grandfather asked Nathan's father. What a good mind and memory that he has. It was long ago in America when I told him this. He remembers. He remembers. My little Kadish remembers. He will remember his grandfather all his life. He will pray for me after I die. Tears ran down grandfather's face as he said again, my little Kadish. Walking to the end of the narrow street, grandfather saw a taxi coming. He signaled the cab by making a hissing noise. The taxi stopped. Inside the taxi, Nathan's father exclaimed, We didn't see the women after the service. They won't know where we're going. Settling back comfortably in the taxi, Grandfather grunted, "They are only women. They'll know soon enough." They stopped at the Wailing Wall first. Grandfather watched Nathan's face closely. The serious, sorrowful expression he saw there pleased the old man. He pointed to the wall where worshipers were standing. Most were right up close to the wall. Men on one side, women on the other, separated by a rope. Nathan noticed the men had more space than the women. Some were pounding their foreheads against the wall as they wailed and prayed. Others, standing farther away, were chanting from the Torah, swaying back and forth as they read. Some swayed more than others. These, Nathan observed, were dressed in the ultra-Orthodox clothing his grandfather wore. "May I stay here while you and Grandfather go to see the apartment? I'd like very much to stay and think, Father." "Let the boy stay," Grandfather said. "He will be safe here. We won't be gone long." Nathan could see his grandfather was pleased because he wanted to stay. It was the thoughtful boy who stood there, alone, looking and listening. If it were true, if the Messiah had already come and wanted to be their Savior, how sad that these Jews did not know. Would they all have to wait until he came again to know him? As he was standing there thinking, Nathan saw nearby a boy about his own age. Turning, Nathan said, "Shalom." Smiling, the boy answered, speaking good English, "I am an Arab, so I do not say shalom. Instead, I say alamak, which means God be with you. I like to be your friend." "Thank you," Nathan said. Thank you. I sort of need a friend. I have just come from America. I don't know anyone but my own family." Holding out his hand, he said, "I'd like to be friends too." The Arab boy reached out and shook Nathan's hand. "That is very kind of you," he said. "I live in that house right over there. It doesn't look to have a door in front. This is because we made a back door when the Jews began coming to pray at the Wailing Wall. Now we use only the back door. We are not Jews, but we respect their religion." Tears came to Nathan's eyes. Again he held out his hand. The Arab boy shook it, saying, "My name is Ali Yosef." "Mine is Nathan David. I'll look for you when I come again. I am to have my bar mitzvah here. Will you come?" Ali replied, "That is very kind to you to invite me, but those two men, are they coming for you?" "Oh yes, they are my father and grandfather. They've been looking at apartments near here. Maybe I shall live close by. Then we could see each other often." "I'd like that, but now we must hurry home. You see, my mother and grandmother don't know where we are." The Arab boy smiled again as he walked to his house. There he turned and watched as Nathan greeted his father and grandfather at the gate which led to the Wailing Wall.